titled Hacking International Networks and Systems Using VoIP. And I guess, can anybody identify what these old-timey things are? Oh yeah, oh, perfect. All right, very good. Now, what's this thing? PAP2, VoIP, right. So traditionally, a lot of people believe that you can't really use modems and VoIP adapters very well together because there's a lot of problems, like
lots of problems. Compression, things dropping out. Just you can't maintain a carrier. It'll just sit there and try to renegotiate over and over and over again, and that's one of the things that we kind of worked on to try to solve.
Right.
And plus,
besides,
nobody even use modems anymore.
Right.
What's this internet thing,
Right. Everybody hooks everything up to the internet now, right?
Yeah. No one drops their carrier.
Right.
No one.
So, but there's some ways that you can actually fix this, that you can actually, there are some variables that you can set that'll make your connections a little bit better. And that's like, I guess we'll skip that one.
Like what? This?
Yeah.
What
Well, here, we're to show that
we
it is actually possible.
We have a whole bunch of video and stuff like that for you to kind of enjoy. I mean, because, really, you really can do modems over VoIP, and what's really kicking about it is you can get some good speeds. Like 28.8, I've gotten 33.6.
And yes, my ANSI blows. My ANSI emulation. That's not my name. All right. Anyway, so as you can see, you can still get and maintain really fast network or modem connections. Now, where can we go with this here? I just quit that. As you can see, we're displaying all the BBSs that still exist in Texas.
Are there actually BBS in Texas?
Yes, there are. All right, so you have to have compression disabled. So you have to use something like MuLaw or A-Law, something that's, obviously.
GSM sucks.
Yes, GSM will absolutely kill it. So some adapters, they have a special setting for fax machines. So you'll dial like *99, and it'll kind of set up the modem in a pre-configuration so that you can send a fax over it. Like the PAP2, if you do *99 on that, it'll automatically disable echo cancellation. But if your adapter doesn't do this, then you can manually go in and tweak it. And of course, use a provider that you have good latency between, as best as possible.
Latency.
Consistent, yeah, and preferably not dropping every other freaking packet.
Like, for example, for the Telefreak project, we're using a VoIP provider based out of, was it France or
Someplace.
India?
Right.
Someplace in Europe. And so we have the transatlantic leg, which is always constant. So you're always going to get that constant latency going on there. So, it evens things out. And then, of course, make sure you put AT at K.
Yeah, the modem, a lot of times you can use the error correction and whatnot to help you maintain a good, solid connection.
But but what the AT at K does, it actually turns off data compression. You don't need data compression in a compressed stream. It just makes things worse.
All right, and then there's some variables that you just can't really address with no AT command set. Like if you're dialing into India, for example.
Think they have a crosstalk there?
Probably a little. I've heard it. So what can you do? So now we got a modem hooked up, and what the hell are you going to do with it? Where are you going to call? Well, you could hook some stuff up to the modem. Maybe you could hook up a credit card machine and call over VoIP. That would be a terrible idea. You could, maybe start up a BBS and not do very much with that. And you can see if your buddy still has that BBS or that old hacker BBS.
Run FidoNet, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. So you could do that. But there's an entire world out there of, of a lot of people don't typically dial outside of the United States. So there's lots of other things to dial out up there.
But why?
So, yeah.
I mean, I would. Absolutely. That's what I'm hearing.
There were satellite TV box needs to call in for authorization. It could be useful for that too. They're not
Exactly,
Absolutely.
yes.
You had TiVo and
Right, right. So,
does it also satellites and cable boxes do it something.
right, correct. Now the connections that you're making aren't exactly, light speed, but we're not doing PPP. We're not trading wares or downloading porn. It's text. Or I don't know of any X25 networks doing porn, but. So let's see what we have here. And these are mostly non-IP, typically, networks that we typically play on. I think the next one is the,
So going into X25.
Okay. So basically, one thing that me and Jay Falcon started talking about, in America there used to be a lot of X25 networks like Telenet and TimeNet and stuff like that. And we said, gosh, I wonder if there's still any of those out there, kind of thinking,
Well,
I doubt it.
A lot of these networks were around, 70s, or throughout the entire 80s.
Right.
We used to call, a thing called PC Pursuit, and
Right.
Pursuit.com is mine.
It's you drop $20 a month, and during the off hours between 6 p.m. to 7 a.m., you'd be able to call through other out-dial modems. And they're placed in like, New York, Chicago, Denver, Seattle, all these different places. So you connect to the Sprint network or Telenet.
Those aren't totally gone, believe it or not, for certain applications.
We've already dialed all the Sprint numbers, and they are gone.
Those may be, but some of the other stuff might not be.
Oh, the X25? I think you might be right.
Yeah.
So
two.
it's also
Maybe
being
one or two
used.
out there.
It's also being used. A lot of the countries, for instance, like in India and whatnot, they already have the network infrastructure in place. So it gives them a means, like on one of the providers, they use an X25 network to piggyback PPP connections and stuff like that to get citizens and whatnot onto the internet. So hence the piggybacking.
Well, they've already put the money into the infrastructure, so
Right.
it's just a matter of essentially
And X25 networks
using it
are
as a big modem pool.
are used for all kinds of interesting things, banking, corporate systems, ATMs, of course.
SCADA.
Everybody likes to talk about that. So let's see what's out there. I'm sorry. A lot of these networks have equipment hooked up, and they're not usually terribly secured very well. We've seen some
Out
really,
of band stuff.
right, kind of scary. They think it's on an X25 network that nobody knows about, so why put a password on that router? Right.
Absolutely.
All right.
But this isn't an X25 talk. I mean,
We're just touching on it real quick.
we're just touching on some of the basic terminology. When you use X25 networks as opposed to, like AX25, where everybody has a TNC, which is their pad, and then they all talk whatever. On regular telephone X25, you have an X28, which is called a pad. And essentially that's your little base point, and then that talks X25.
It's like a kind of a command table for you to enter addresses to connect to other machines within that particular network.
Yeah, in a way, I would think it's more like
Well,
like
we
the
could-
PP, like X28 is the PPP to talking to TCP. In a way.
Okay,
It's-
well.
yeah. So, but when you call these X25 networks, instead of an IP address, you have an NUA, and it's a network user address, just a string of numbers,
Okay.
prefixed by a DNIC. NUIs are essentially
They log you into the network that you want to
logins,
use.
passwords.
Right. They aren't always necessary. A lot of systems will let you connect and use their network without an NUI, but then once you're connected, the system's connected on that X25 network, may or may not let you connect based on the fact if you have an NUI or you don't have an NUI. I don't know if that made any sense, but. And DNIC, I'll let you explain that.
DNICs are essentially basically what defines a subnet in an X25 network. Essentially, you have, like if you know that a 12.12./8 is going to be AT&T or NASA origin subnet.
For instance, if you kind of almost look at like area codes, kind of, because like
too,
is it
yeah.
310 is what, Canada, I think, or is it 301? Well, anyways, so the first three numbers will be the country, and then the last will typically be used for identifying other networks, but the first three, so you know what country. Almost every country has a DNIC associated with it.
Like these DNICs.
Right. So you can see like China is 460, and then if 4603 is China PAC. So these are all the different X25. I mean, the list is absolutely huge. So we just included a few. So, so here we're going to show a little video of what you can actually connect up to. And I think there's still a few around. So this one's Japan. We haven't really explored this one that much. We don't really know a whole lot about it. That's the one thing too. You find all these weird networks, and it's sometimes hard to find any documentation on them, or you find these, you know, to find out how they're being used or what they're being used for.
And usually, I mean, you Google them up, and that's, I mean, a lot of the stuff we found is off Google, essentially. And, you know, you might find like one place, one application that might give you a login to just to their service.
Right. And the networks tend to be used for various things. Some of them deal more with like banking and stuff like that. Other ones, large corporations, stuff like that. So, and this is actually connecting to the pad. Right there is the NUI command, but I didn't specify any ID that I wanted to use. I just wanted to show how you do it. So as you can see, when you're connecting up to the pad, it's kind of giving you just like a command layer to get connected. Now this one right here is in South Africa. And as you can see, it doesn't even let you on right up front. This one just died. Like, you probably can't dial into this network anymore. They just killed it. It was Australia, and the government used it a lot, and they just recently shut it down. Actually, you can probably still dial into it. But,
These are just some of the many prompts, and you can see that there's a difference in for each country, because usually these networks, you know, they span the entire country, and you know they'll have prompts that are, you know, sort of fitting towards their language.
Right. Now, on this one, you'll notice you keep doing the set command because I'm just trying to get some output from the pad. What I'm going to do here is on this particular network, they have these test NUAs that you can connect to. And it's just for testing out your terminal connections and whatnot. And so whatever you type in, it'll echo back. Now, while that's not very interesting in itself, it gives you an idea of the way the NUA is structured. Like, I can't see it from here, but I can look at that, and now I might be able to use that in the future to scan out the rest of the network to see what other systems are out there. So, and I might have made some of these videos a little long, but here, I think it's almost done with this one. So as you can see, and remember, this is all over VoIP. It's really easy to dial into all these fun little networks. And we're just kind of showing the limited pad stuff and just actually connecting. This one's used for air transport communications used by airliners.
I think iPass uses them too.
Oh yes, I think it connect up. See, so I'm using, actually this is a public access NUI that people use to connect up to this ISP in Hong Kong. Now, so I've logged in, I've entered the NUA. Well, I entered the wrong NUA. Or not, yeah. Let's see what it does here. Okay, so we connect up to Hong Kong and we get this nice little PPP connection. Now you see at the very top there, or I think I actually highlight it in a second, where it says call connected to. It's kind of taking that, it's redirecting the original NUA that I put in and then connecting it to that NUA. So basically, using that, I now know more about the network and I can actually scan it a little bit more, that part right up there. So I think I just connect to it. And I've never actually tried to make a PPP connection to this server, but I don't really care. I'm going to do PPP over VoIP to Hong Kong. That sounds like such a brilliant idea, but I've done much sillier stuff, so. I think this one's almost over. And this one's in India, and remember that picture that I showed you with their fun phone lines? It is incredibly difficult to connect. So I just took a screenshot. And this is British Telecommunications. This one's used a lot for banking. And it's owned by the same, well, actually, it's owned by the same company who did TimeNet, I believe, isn't it?
Absolutely.
BT?
Yeah, BT.
So it's good to see in Europe they're still